Come on, man. Come on, Stephen A. You El Chapo? You running the media cartel, my boy? Come on, man. Talking about be careful. Man, listen, I ain't even gonna get into that, y'all.
Welcome to Viral, the show that brings you the biggest stories making headlines and dominating social media. Tonight, we're talking about the growing feud between Boston Celtics star Jaylen Brown and ESPN personality Stephen A. Smith. What started as a criticism of players' comment has turned into a public battle over media coverage and accountability and respect. Let's get into it. But first thing first, join in the conversation using the hashtag viral here on Connect. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing. I am your host, Kendrick Dix. Let's get into it. All right, the latest chapter in the Stephen A. versus Jaylen Brown saga began after Brown reflected on the Celtics season. Despite Boston's disappointing playoff exit, Brown described the season as one of his favorites. Those coming quickly caught the attention of sports media, including Stephen A. Smith. Smith questions Brown's remark and suggests that the players should focus more on winning than trying to put on a positive spin on this season that ended in a disappointment. But Brown was not having it. Brown believes his comments were taken out of context. The Celtics star recently criticized ESPN's coverage and accused the network of being unethical in the way it presents his remarks. According to Brown, people within the Celtics organization understood exactly what he meant, but the media turned his words into something that they were not. And when Brown mentioned ESPN, many fans immediately thought one person, Stephen A. Smith. Smith responded in a typical Stephen A. fashion. He argued that the Brown was unfairly attacking the media and acting like a victim. Smith also pointed out that he and other analysts have often praised Brown throughout his career, especially for his leadership and growth as one of the NBA's top players. The ESPN star also suggested that Brown regularly creates controversy where that does not need to be any. As expected, fans quickly picked sides. Some support Brown argued that the sports media often sensationalizes comments that creates headlines. Others defend Smith, saying public figures should expect criticism, scrutiny, and when they make public statements. Let's hear what you people had to say on what the people say.
I just watched Jaylen Brown's video responding to Stephen A. Smith's comments, and all I gotta say is that it's so cool that these athletes are building their own platform so they can speak on what they want to speak on. As people who like these players or like the teams that they're on, we can get the news straight from the source, because these talking heads like Stephen A. Smith, Colin Cowherd, Skip Bayless, all they do is have takes that create narratives and just drive engagement, because that's really all they want, bro. They want to have the most eyes on their platform, and by doing that, you may not be necessarily stating the truth. You may just be saying things that will get a rise out of people. And now that players are able to respond and give their own point of view, you get to really see that these talking heads don't know what they're talking about. So it's just cool to see these athletes just making their own platform.
So, man, on this latest episode of BEEF, Beef, we have in one corner the finals MVP, Jaylen Brown, and in the other corner, world-renowned journalist Stephen A. Smith. And in this recent episode of Beef, Jaylen Brown stated in no uncertain terms, if Stephen A. Smith, I want him to get off of these networks and retire, because all the thing that he brings up is clickbait. And it's not just on his ESPN platform at this point in time, it's also on his own platform as far as the podcasts are concerned, because it's a lot of clickbait and not a lot of substance at this point. You essentially heard me make a video earlier in the year, I think it was last year, asking, has Stephen A. become what he despised in the form of Jason Whitlock? As we saw Jason Whitlock earlier in the week, he poked fun at Asia Wilson's 43 points, stated, where's the game of basketball going when we're only pointing at her 43 points? I did ask, is Stephen A. Smith becoming exactly what he despises? Because guess what? From his bad sports takes to his bad political takes, not to mention him not being a force as a journalist, as from what he was back when he was covering Allen Iverson, much like Ahmad Rashad was covering Michael Jordan. He's definitely lost a lot of substance. So Jaylen Brown, as far as Stephen A. Smith, is absolutely right. There's a lot of clickbait when it comes to Stephen A. Smith and not a lot of substance that we saw he was originally on ESPN. And if you really, really think about it, the show First Take has to be in a little bit of trouble, because when you think about all of these quote-unquote special guest stars that they bring it on, Cameron, bringing back Skip Bayless, him raving to bring back Shannon Sharp, it's obviously those ratings are in trouble. And if those ratings continue to go down, then you have to ask yourself, how are they going to justify giving him that major multi-million-dollar contract if that show in fact disappears? And how's he going to be able to do it on his own if he doesn't have the ESPN backing him up? I don't think he's the mover and the shaker like Pat McAfee and a lot of his other counterparts are. They were able to make things move and shake, bring a whole other audience without him. That's how come he's bringing them back on the show at this point in time. But I don't think he's that guy who is going to make things move like that, and that is why he's resorted to clickbait at this point. And Jaylen Brown is absolutely right. But let me know what you think.
Jaylen Brown all of a sudden is a streamer. Jaylen Brown said, hey, listen, this is one of my best seasons. This is one of my favorite seasons in my career. And Stephen A. Smith is like, so Jason Tatum was hurt the whole year. You guys blew a 3-1 lead, and this is your favorite season? I don't understand how that works. If he feels like that with all this turmoil that's going on, I think that they need to trade him. Jaylen Brown goes to his stream and says, I'm tired of all of this bad journalism, all of this, we got to get these dudes out of here, blah, 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 blah. And Stephen A. Smith comes back and says, oh, well, you don't want me to start talking about how the Boston Celtics internally feel about you. You don't want me to start reporting stuff. So then Jaylen Brown was like, again, I'm paraphrasing. It's like, fuck Stephen A. I don't care about Stephen A. And I'll say it to his face. And then Stephen A. goes to his show and he's just like, oh, I don't understand why you had to disrespect me. I'm always, in your corner. I'm supportive.
You've been playing that card for years, though.
And that's my problem, is that you go ahead and you go spill your hot takes because that's what your bosses at ESPN are telling you to do. And when the players now have the ability to clap back at you, you go ahead and play the Karen card about, what did I say? I've always been in your corner. Dude, but you go ahead and go say dumb shit too. So you can't expect him to just not respond to you. And here's the part about Stephen A. Smith that I don't understand. If you do say something, because that is your job, you're an opinionist. You are not a reporter. You're not a journalist anymore. That's not your job. You've stopped being a journalist years ago when you stopped covering the Sixers and Allen Iverson. You are no longer a journalist. You do not have that insider card anymore. So we can stop playing that bullshit. You are an opinionist. You say your opinion and you go ahead and go about your business. You're the biggest face in the space. We get that. But in this situation, the next thing that you should do is just mute up, because your job is to be an opinionist. If they respond to you, you don't respond back, because you are who you are. You are a media personality. You are not bigger than Jaylen Brown. You are the biggest guy in the space. You are not him. Every athlete is bigger than you. Your job is to be sideline to the athlete. You make your career talking about them. It should never be when somebody claps at you, you now have to go in this fucking diatribe about all the things that you've done in your career. We've heard this record before, dude. But what we haven't heard from you recently in the past 6 years is you shutting up when somebody does clap back at you, instead of you saying, you know what? I'm not even gonna respond to him. I'm not gonna answer it. He felt that way. I said what I said. Boom. No, you gotta take to your show. You now have to make it a conversation piece. Again, it's Fox News of sports.
Yep. Come on, Jaylen Brown. Speak your truth. Speak your truth, my guy. He said that ESPN is unethical, and the leader of that motherfucking organization is Stephen A. Smith. And he's right. He's right. He said they're unethical. You know what I meant by that comments when I'm saying this is the best season. And my team and my organization, they knew what the fuck I meant, because this team wasn't expected to do shit this year without Jason Tatum, without Drew Holiday. We had to trade Kristaps Porzingis. We lost Horford. This is a whole different team. And what we had to go through to be the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference when nobody picked us to do shit. And I was the leader of that. I was a big part of that. This was a fun season in that case of scenario. Y'all took my comments and y'all went on the World Wide Web media destruction of my name and character because I said that. Yeah, when would it make sense for me to say that? 1 week from now, 2 weeks from now? No matter when I said it, I would have said it because this is how I felt about this season. Me as a Miami Heat fan, I'm gonna tell y'all, 2014 and 15, I don't know what fucking year it is. We no longer have D Wade. We no longer have LeBron James, Chris Bosh. This situation, he's out, blood clot. And this team is trash. It's going down the fucking drain. We are led by Dion Waiters, James Johnson, Goran Dragic, and the rest of the fucking crew. This shit is in shambles. And as a Miami Heat fan, we finished that season 41-41 after we started that season, I don't know, probably 10-31, something. It was fucking terrible. And as a Miami Heat fan, we didn't even make the playoffs. And that was one of the most thrilling, entertaining seasons of my life, even compared with us winning 2 championships in 4 years, D-Wade 06 championship. We were, ask 80 Miami Heat fan, that was probably one of the best seasons we ever had. Like, it was fun. It was entertaining. Dion Waiters was hitting threes. James Johnson was balling. It was fun and entertaining to see. And there was no expectations of this team. But to see them fight, it was something to behold. And I think that's what Jaylen Brown is saying. Like, hey, this team was, people didn't even expect us to make the playoffs. We were a playing team at best. And look what we did. Look at the run we went on. I know we lost the series 3-1. I know we got Tatum back, but he still was injured. And look what we did. This, like, success is just not winning the championship. I know that's what y'all wanted to be, but sometimes we have to look deeper within the fucking whole situation and find out what success means to us individually. And that was meant success to me because of all the shit the team went through. And Stephen A. Smith and the rest of the gang ganged up on him, and that was bullshit. Agree or disagree? Y'all let me know in the comments.
Yo, Stephen A. Smith is indeed unethical. ESPN also is extremely unethical. And Stephen A. Smith is indeed the head of that machine that spawns it. His beef with Jaylen Brown is so crazy. And one thing I'm going to say is I will never go against a man of the people for an op. Stephen A. Smith is an op. He is so negatively impacting the black community in so many different areas that I won't even get into. He is indeed a pawn. The fact that he's trying to come on First Take, the fact that he came on First Take and tried to act as if he doesn't understand what Jaylen Brown is talking about when he calls ESPN unethical, and him being the head of that is absolutely asinine. ESPN is indeed unethical. All networks are. But what he's saying is that Stephen A. Smith has been hyper-focused on Jaylen Brown's comment after the first playoff, exit about saying this was his favorite season. He talked about why previously, and it was taken out of context, and he ran with it. Not only did they run with it, because it's one thing to say, the fans don't want to hear that. Cool, understandable. But that's not what they just did on the show. Stephen A. Smith has specifically kept going on and on saying that comment was made to pretty much say that he was happy that Jason Tatum was sidelined, that he was out, that he could run his own team. And now this is then the narrative that they continue to start spinning about why Jaylen Brown needed to be in trade conversations because he told them in the world that he no longer wanted to be a part of the team or he wanted to run his own team from that statement. That is what he is considering unethical, and Stephen A. Smith being the face of that. The fact that he came on his own show and talked about, I'm going to make a collage of all the things I've said about Jaylen Brown in the past to show that I'm unethical, again, is the manipulation and gaslighting of Stephen A. Smith. He is so detrimental. And one thing about Jaylen Brown is a man of the people. It is documented that Jaylen Brown gives to the black community, does work for the black community. He knows what narrative he's spitting. He knows what he's doing on his show on this platform by even trying to have this back and forth with him. Stephen A. Smith is an op. Stephen A. Smith is an op. He is an op. He is not to be trusted. He is not to be trusted. He is not to be trusted. That's why he got $100 million contract, $100 million. That's why he got that money, because he's an op. He's a plan. For sure. For sure. That stuff he said about Carmelo Anthony, a plan. And you see who behind me. The realest. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. That man is terrible. Jaylen Brown, stay black. Okay? Stephen A., get black. Okay?
Jaylen really might be shooting his way out of town. Listen to this again. It was publicized as a shot at Stephen A. It's a way bigger shot.
No.
At the team and his teammates.
ESPN is unethical, and Stephen A. Smith is the head face of that. But, you know, the organization, the players, they were all in agreement. They all knew what I meant by that. Our team was basically salary dumped. You know, we lost a lot of players. And for us to emerge and still be in the same position.
Our team was salary dumps.
It was me and a bunch of salary dumps.
Yeah.
What was I supposed to do?
What did you want me to do? I'm a miracle worker, for God's sakes. Oh, my God.
I still can't get over that
Me
comment.
and some salary dumps. We had the seed.
Would he be talking like that if he thought he was back? If he thought he was going to be playing with all the salary dumps, would he be calling them salary dumps?
I kind of flip it.
Salary dumps are gone.
I don't think he's
all of them.
I don't think he is necessarily shooting his way out of town. I think this is sort of like you could do chicken or the egg thing.
Yep.
I think he already knows he's gone,
Fair.
so he's like, screw it.
Either way.
That's what. Okay.
Either way, it's like I'm not playing with the salary dump roster anymore.
No.
So I'm going somewhere else so I can call them salary dumps because that's what they are.
Yeah, but now the worst part is, as a Celtics fan, it seems like they're just going to salary dump Brown.
Come on, man. He is the perfect dude to be speaking. And for intellectual, high-functioning athlete, the highest paid guy, say, fuck Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, that's how intellectual he felt like being.
Was that Harvard enough for you?
Did I communicate that properly?
Fuck this nigga.
I loved it.
I loved it as well, and I love it every time, and it's happening more and more. The rabbit got the gun in a lot of this regard with this podcast stuff, where Stephen A. and ESPN don't control the narrative no more.
No.
Like, they can put the word out and try to, but a guy can come and make his response and get just as many views on it, especially because you said something.
Right.
So now they want to see the response. So when he posted, it's going to go viral because it's a response to what you said. So people are looking for him to be saying something back, and people are giving him what he wants, and he's not looking that good most of the time.
Long story short, man, Stephen A., Stephen B., Stephen C., his vocabulary, his delusion, his attire, Stephen he does. But long story short, man, Stephen A., Stephen B., Stephen C., his vocabulary, his delusion, his attire, and his necessity to serve these higher ups. Like, man,
oh my God.
That shit. You know what I mean? You want me to be quiet? I think a lot of people want you to be quiet as well. So my offer still stands. I'll stop streaming till this motherfucker retire, you know, because he's the face of clickbait media at the point. And maybe with his retirement, we could spark a movement to get the rest of these motherfuckers out of here.
So this is a response to Stephen A. saying he needs to be quiet unless you're trying to get traded. I think this was his comments regarding that this was his favorite season instead of the championship season.
So in other words, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum showed up on First Take before he showed up on your dance.
What does that have to do with anything? What? This is journalism?
That is a fair take. That has nothing to do with nothing. So basically, because Jaylen Brown responded the way he responded, he's going to use Jaylen Brown's teammate to say, yeah, he was on my show before yours. I don't think Jaylen Brown was streaming at the time of Jason Tatum being on there. And if he was, I could be totally wrong. But I can't agree with Stephen A. in terms of taking this route of saying, yeah, your superstar teammate was on my show before yours, and you streaming all the time.
The year that Jason Tatum was down with an Achilles tear is your favorite year? The year that...
That's him being given a chance to be the number one option throughout the entirety of the year, where the Boston Celtics was projected to not even be a playoff team, and they ended up being the 2 seed. A lot of people had the Boston Celtics winning the title the year they won the title. Like, a lot of people were like, yeah, y'all gonna win the title. You know what I'm saying? That may not be his favorite season. His favorite season was probably going through a lot of adversity and being the underdog and then proving people that he could be a number one option on a really good team in the Eastern Conference. I mean, at the end of the day, that's his opinion, and he the one that did it. How you gonna tell a man that actually did everything what his favorite season. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't.
But he's creating a narrative saying that the reason why I'm saying that I had my favorite season is because selfishly I had a best performing year. Not the fact that we outproved expectations, not the fact that
I knew it had to be because of that.
Like, he maybe not doesn't understand that because maybe he's never had to fight for nothing in his life. Maybe anytime adversity is hit,
here we go.
He's rolled over or he's gave in. So he thinks it's the same thing as somebody who has little to no expectation and they stood up and they made a name for themselves. He may not understand that concept.
What an interesting it is that the feud didn't start this year. Tensions between Stephen A. Smith and Jaylen Brown had been building for quite some time. Back in 2024, Smith discussed reports where from an anonymous NBA source questioning Brown's marketability and relationships around the league. Brown challenged those reports and pushed back publicly. Since then, the two sides have traded subtle, not so subtle shots through media, interviews, television appearances, and social media. Now the rivalry appears stronger than ever. The timing is important. Brown's name has surfaced in a trade speculation as teams continue to monitor Boston's future plans. Wherever the superstar player becomes part of a trade discussion or media tension intensifies. That doesn't mean every quote, every interview, and every social media post get analyzed under the microscope. For Brown, that scrutiny appears to be reaching its boiling point. For Smith, it's just simply part of the job. This story raises a bigger question. Where is the line between fair criticism and unfair coverage? Athletes often feel misunderstood when their comments is taken out of context. At the same time, some sports analysts are paid to give opinions even when those opinions make players uncomfortable. It's a debate that isn't going anywhere. And as long as Jaylen Brown and Stephen A. Smith continue to respond to each other, fans will keep watching. What do you think? Is Jaylen Brown right to call out ESPN and Stephen A. Smith? Or is Stephen A. Smith simply doing his job as a sports commentator? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to Connect TV, and stay tuned for more stories that are going viral. I'm your host, Kendrick Dix, saying we'll see you next time.